Well, I have to say, Travis, John, we so appreciate your dedication. Your dedication to good science that's making this fishery expand, not just here as we learn, but across the state, and providing for anglers. Get out there, feel those tight lines.
No, I mean, I'm honored to be a part of it and to be a part of a team that thinks progressively and allows me to do the things that we're capable of doing.
The award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. We're glad you're tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We are excited to be here at Tellico Hatchery once again with John Ellis. He's our Tellico Hatchery manager, and Travis Scott. He's the Region 3 Streams coordinator, Region 3 Streams manager, and just glad to be here. Glad to have them with us. And Miss Mimi Barnes, our communications outreach guru for Region 3.
Happy to be here.
Lady with all the answers, right?
If only.
Yeah. Glad to have her. Thanks to her for setting this up. As always, she does a great job, and we're just glad to be here. Thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us. So we got the brook trout facility here behind us, where they've been raising some brook trout, and a lot of great things going on here. And
amazing.
So let's just kick it off first. Tell us a bit about yourselves and a little bit about what's going on here, and then we'll dive into some more information on trout and Tellico and all that good stuff. So whoever wants to kick it off.
Well, you guys, you guys know me. I'm John Ellis. I'm Tellico Hatchery manager. Running the facility here and work under Travis. We kind of work together to make sure that the streams remain healthy and get adequate numbers of fish and work through our streams management and tailwater management.
Yeah. Travis, what, I guess you're maybe John's boss.
John's boss, and but he's easy to work with.
Crack the whip.
The regional rivers and streams fisheries biologist, and so we've got about 24 counties in the region, and we manage all the rivers and streams, and of course that means a lot of trout streams that we have management responsibilities for, and so that's why we work closely with John and the staff here at Tellico to make sure our trout program is accomplishing our goals.
Mm-hmm. So you got rainbow trout, you got brown trout, and then you have the native brook trout facility here. Mm-hmm. A lot of work going on back here, and it's amazing to see what we're growing.
Yeah, we've got rainbows, we've got brown trout, we've actually got some albino rainbow trout here, and then we're starting back up with our Southern Appalachian brook trout restoration project.
And the Southern Appalachian brook trout, is the only trout native here to Tennessee, and so we're working to try to restore it throughout its historic range here in Tennessee, and that's the purpose of the building.
That's a success story right there. I mean, the number of years we've been working on these guys. It's been at least 10 or more years that we've been that I can remember.
This facility was originally built in the early 90s and was operated for a couple of years, and then due to some issues it was kind of put on the back burner. But in 2011 we really started focusing more on working with this facility to produce brook trout for restoration efforts. And of course we had a big effort on Sycamore Creek here, and now we're expanding to other regions.
Cool. So we've got down here to talk about the Trail Fork Creek. So tell us about the Trail Fork Creek.
It's a tributary to the French Broad River. It's in the North Cherokee, and we're working with some of our Region 4 biologists. They've been doing some work on Trail Fork as far as removing the non-native rainbows in Trail Fork Creek, and there's a barrier that will prevent any more of those rainbows from moving into the Trail Fork. But it's around, I think, 5 kilometers of stream that we're going to be able to restore the native Southern Appalachian brook trout to.
Wow. Talk about that relationship between the two trout, and what do you mean by barrier?
Yeah, it's a waterfall that will prevent the rainbows from moving upstream into the area where we're going to put the brook trout. And what happens is the rainbows can outcompete the native brook trout, and that's what we've seen in some other streams. And so oftentimes you have to remove those first, and so that work has been done, and so they're ready to put some more brook trout in. And they actually went to some creeks in that same watershed. They went to Brown Gap Creek and Deep Gap Creek and middle prong of Gulf Creek, and they got some fish. That's streams that are kind of originate in the Cherokee, but they also flow through the Martha Sundquist State Forest there. And so we collected fish from all three of those streams, and that's what we have in the building now. And we've been spawning them this fall, and we've got eggs that are incubating and should be hatching in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we hope.
So I'm going to get ahead of us here
Sure.
and just say, why collect fish from that area? Why can't we just take brook trout from anywhere? What's important about the genetics?
Right. There's two different strains of brook trout. There's a northern strain and a southern strain. And the southern strain is native to our area. Kind of the dividing line is around the New River in Virginia. South of that, the southern strain would have been native. And we've been doing a lot of genetics testing on our fish, all of our populations, and we've gotten some preliminary results. And so we want to make sure we're going back with pure southern strain. And throughout the years, there have been some northern strain fish stocked in some of our wild trout waters. And so we wanted to make sure that these fish were 100% southern strain on one hand. The other thing is we're looking at improving genetic diversity, and that's why we're collecting from multiple sources, multiple stream sources, so we can improve the genetic diversity. Over time, some of these fish have been isolated in headwater streams, and there hasn't been a lot of new genetics coming in. And so essentially we have populations where all the fish are probably closely related, and so that's not good for long-term survivability of that population. So we're looking to improve their chances by increasing that genetic diversity.
Very cool. And something we're happy the average angler doesn't have to think about that. We're happy that you are on staff to do that work.
Yeah, we just hope there's a nice population that will persist for an extended period of time for people to go catch.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And when you end up in a situation like he's talking about, when you have limited gene influence, it's in a small area and you've basically have interbreeding like that. I mean, those fish are much more susceptible to disease and such. So by increasing the genetic diversity, you're providing a fish that's much more capable of weathering, rough situations, whether it be biological or, weather related.
Yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah, that's
Very
awesome.
So there you are doing work clear up. Well, you're doing the work here, but this hatchery is far reaching. So talk to us about the reach of this hatchery. It's not just the river next to us right now.
Right.
No, I mean, the reach of the hatchery just continues to expand, and that's something that Travis and I have talked quite a bit about. I don't know if there's a definitive answer to that, because we continue to be able to produce fish, quality fish, that can go throughout the entire state. Then that's something that's always been our goal. We've changed our management procedures, and overall have been very successful in being able to produce large fish that have gone, throughout the state. It's not, and we do, we're still able to provide an excellent fishery here in Tellico, Sitico, the Polk County streams that we service, and the Hiawassee River and such. But, with some of the plans that Travis has laid in and implemented, we have quality fish going, places they've never gone before out of Tellico.
Wow.
And that's, we're really proud of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've worked to expand our reach there, and we're providing some trophy fish for our winter trout fisheries across the state. We provide them for some of the tailwaters across the state, and we've really expanded that this year. We're going to have a lot more of these trophy fish to incorporate into our different fisheries, so it's very exciting.
And we've had a lot of success getting in retired brood fish from federal hatcheries, and even producing our own trophies here, and getting them up to size, and we can add significant weight and increase their health substantially before they're released. You just end up with a lot better resource.
So closer to home here, we're going to talk to some folks later about some of the great fisheries that takes place and some of the great angling opportunities. But close to home, what are some of the things taking place as far as stocking and?
Well, we've been able to secure a larger number of trophy fish that we're going to continue to, keep here in the hatchery and increase in size. Those fish will be allocated to different tailwaters and streams, throughout the state. We have a significant portion that go into the Hiawassee. We have a significant amount that are going into the delayed harvest here, and the Hiawassee that we discussed earlier, as well as Caney, other rivers such as that.
Yeah, Caney Fork River or Dale Hollow tailwater. We'll be able to utilize these fish, like I said, in the winter trout program, which is just almost here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if folks want to find out information, tnwildlife.org, and we have that stocking schedule.
Yes.
And they can find that winter trout stocking schedule on the website.
Yeah, and there's a new, speaking of the website, there's a new trout stream forecast thing. So a little map that you can find these bodies of waters, and it's got some tips and tricks there, you know, and what's good to catch and good time of year.
Yeah. We've worked to kind of produce those fishing forecasts for our larger tailwaters across the state, the trout tailwaters. It's got some very valuable information, tips and tactics, and a brief description of what to expect there.
Very nice.
And we hope maybe to expand that beyond that in the coming year.
So, as well as, I mean, you talk about these fish are going to different bodies of water and different tailwaters and things like that. Are we helping our other hatcheries out with these fish too? Do some of these fish go to other hatcheries in our system? And
oh yeah, all of our hatcheries work closely together to make sure that we're getting the fish to the places where we need them to provide quality angling across the state. And so there's, we use proper precautions because we don't want to be potentially spreading diseases from one facility to another. But yeah, we get fish from Dale Hollow. We send fish to Flintville Hatchery. We work closely with Buffalo Springs on some stuff, and so all of our hatcheries kind of work together to make sure we're getting fish where they need to go and the right size fish for those different projects.
And we may be split by regions, but we're one agency. And you mentioned that, you know, with the Trail Fork Creek, that's a Region 4 stream up in that area. So we're working closely with the different regions and making things happen.
Certainly.
So that's good to see. We're a team here. So let's give a shout out to the employees, and I'll let Mimi do this because she promised she would do this. So go ahead.
Casey and Jessica are here, and Rob's off today, but Wilson Tanksley, ironically, his last name's Tanksley, and he is a long distance hauler for us all those, and we know he listens to the podcast. We're so grateful for their hard work. Talk about the few employees that you have here, and you're basically farming.
Well, we have over here behind us Jessica Matoy and Casey Osborne, and they're really invaluable to our operation up here. They're fully capable of doing anything that we do here and are, fully responsible for the facility and run it on their own from time to time. Being isolated like we are and on the work schedule that we have, that's unavoidable that you will be up here at times by yourself.
And someone has to be here every day.
More or less, yeah. I mean, it's something that we guard. I mean, security at hatcheries is something that's become more of an, into the eye of the public lately, as some of the events that have happened in past years with, the obvious, people doing malicious things. But no, we always have one here, and those two girls they're unbelievable. You can count on them for anything. We have Wilson, who is our long haul driver. He will take off, and he'll deliver fish not only throughout Region 3 but throughout the entire state. He's an absolute workhorse. Rob Thuer is one of our senior members of the staff up here. He's been here for over 20 years. Over
25.
Yeah.
Wow. Good organizational knowledge there.
We've got it. We couldn't do, being able to expand and some of the things we talked about and not really truly defined, what all we service has come through advancements in the hatchery and streams management, and a lot of it's come through not just new technology and new approaches to hatchery management, but through the dedication of the employees we have here. There's not any way you could do it without them.
Yeah.
You talk about security. Is there a security measure that you have to set in place for wildlife messing with the fish?
Jessica.
I mean, you worry about people coming in and maybe vandalizing and things like that, but
if anybody wants to mess with Jessica, then they have to want it awful bad.
No, we do have issues with different wildlife. I mean, everything likes to eat trout, it seems like. So we occasionally have a river otter that might want to get into the raceway, or a great blue heron, and we've actually had some bald eagles swoop down and grab a fish and head out. So we incorporate some netting and fencing and to try to limit their access as well.
And that's one of the things we've gone to this year. We're currently replacing all of our netting with a new design that we've came up with. Is we'll actually slide down and basically lock over the top of each raceway, so it should prevent a lot of that. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah,
really, as far as predation goes, I mean, we do have some animals, that are coming in obviously trying to get fish, but it's not as significant as you'd think.
So the hatchery is open to the public. Tell us those hours.
We've kind of changed the hours. Right now, through the winter, we're closed on the weekends. We're always closed on Thursdays. It allows us to take care of some of the hatchery work that has to be done that's not safe to do with the public present, such as moving fish around and things like that. The best way to keep up with the hatchery hours is either to check the website or to call up here. We typically are open 9 to 3 throughout the week, closed on weekends right now, but when the summer rolls around, we'll be open 9 to 3, 6 days a week. We're always closed on Thursdays.
Okay.
Put you on the spot. What's the phone number if they want to call?
423-253-2661.
Okay, and our website's tnwildlife.org. Hours and things are there. So,
And that there's an answering machine that'll pick up usually, and there's usually a kind of it'll have the hours, and it'll have if it's in the stocking season, it'll explain our stocking, what we did that week, and
awesome.
Keep people informed on that.
It's a good source for if we've stocked Green Cove Pond, what's going on at the time. It's a good source of information.
And that information is available on the website as well. That's being updated, I think, at least weekly with the most recent trout stockings.
Right. I believe that's about every Friday that goes.
Yes.
Live
I think he tries to update it every Friday, all the stockings for that week.
And there is, unique situations sometimes, especially this type of year, when you have weather coming in that we'll have to close for. I mean, we try to be as open as we can to the public, but we've really tried to concentrate on producing a quality fish and focusing more on the science side of things. So it's, we're trying to split the difference there. We're always an open facility when we can be, but at the exact same time, we're putting a lot of focus into the science of improving the fishing throughout the state.
Yep. And weather plays a big factor up here. It can change.
It really does. It changes fast. I mean, last week we had ice storms. Today we're in short sleeve shirts. It's just one of those places, and that's what makes it fun. And the challenges of it, and that's what makes it interesting.
So one of the thing you've mentioned a few times is the brood stock, and you've talked about that science. Tell us about the evaluation taking place to choose the brood stock for reproduction.
Well, the brood stock, the only thing that we have here as far as brood stock goes for reproduction are the southern Appalachian brook trout that were collected and just brought in. What we have done with those right now is basically just trying to put some size on them and ramp them up for next year. I think we expect some success from the spawning this year. I think next year will be our bigger year, but in the hatchery building itself, I mean, it's a small building, but like I mentioned earlier, I mean, it's very well on its way to becoming state of art. We've been able to acquire chiller systems that's going to be able to keep the water temperature cold even in times of extreme heat. We're going to we're going to develop a recirculating system that'll allow us to actually increase the temperature and promote growth when the water is extremely cold. And then we've also looked into some new things like gas infusion technologies that'll raise the dissolved oxygen levels up. So basically, I think when everything here is all said and done, as long as we can have water in that building, we should be able to have fish that not only survive but thrive.
Wow.
And there's something special about that water. Isn't it flowing from?
Everything here is coming in from natural streams in the area. You have water coming in from Sycamore Creek, Tellico River, and Pheasant Branch.
Okay, awesome.
If I can speak a little more about our brood stock on the southern Appalachian brook trout, we're still looking at some of our genetics data that we collected from all of our populations, and we're evaluating that and trying to find the best brood source for some work that we've got planned on the Tellico Creek drainage here in the South Cherokee. It's in Monroe County. The Tellico Creek drainage is a priority watershed for the U.S. National Forest, and it's also in a wilderness area. And so we've done some preliminary work this year as far as monitoring temperatures and evaluating what type of trout are present in that stream. And we've got our basics down, and we're ready to go back with some fish in the upper reaches of North Fork of Tellico Creek. And so we're going to be working over the coming months to determine where we want to get those brood fish from, and that's our goal next year. Is we're going to have fish in this facility for a couple of different streams to work on restoration efforts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're expanding. We're planning on expanding too. Right now we're running 2 tanks in there. Hopefully by this time next year we'll have 4, and then this new gas infusion technology. And in cooperation with the recirculating system and the chillers, and it should be something.
So what can one tank hold? I mean, what when you say one tank, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's a trough, actually. I mean, I don't know if I could give you an exact number on the capacity of it. There's, in hatchery work, there's a little bit of art and science. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that you get in there and kind of feel out. In one of these round tanks behind us, like I mentioned earlier, we propagated albino rainbow trout for the first time ever. And I think at one point in time, we had upwards of 600 to 800 fish a side.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would say that'd be a reasonable number, would you?
Yeah, we on our brood fish, we're usually targeting around 50 fish total, 25 pairs, male and female, for our brood stock on our brook trout. If we can get those numbers, sometimes the populations won't allow that, but that's our target on collecting brood. As far as fingerlings, we've had up to 3,000 fingerlings in there, and that's going to vary. As they get bigger, you're going to have to spread them out into more tanks, and also on your water quality, and that's why we're making some improvements with the gas infusion, the chillers, and the recirculating pumps. That will all improve our capacity, and so that'll help as we have more and more fish in there.
And then at what point will they be reintroduced back into the creeks and waterways?
The fish that we spawn this fall, we'll raise those fry up until our target would be sometime in May. By the end of May, to have those back in the stream.
That fast?
Yes. We would feed them over once they hatch and start swimming up. We'll start feeding them and put some size onto them. And ideally, we're going to have them in better size and better condition than they would be in the wild.
Wow.
Because we're in this controlled environment. And so we hope to have those back in the water as fingerlings in spring, late spring, early summer. But the brood fish we have, we'll keep them for another year, and we'll be able to put considerably more size on them, and that increases their fecundity. They'll have more eggs, they'll have more milk, and we'll have more fingerlings for the next year.
Wow.
And so it's going to be a multi-year project on Trail Fork, and the same with Citico when we start down that road. And the goal there is to collect some brood stock next fall to spawn for Citico Creek.
Happy anglers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, as the quality of the fish and the health of them improve in there, we'll see, like you said, better results in our spawning time. And that coincides with our developments and newly implemented technology in the building. I think that we've got some really good things ahead of us.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's already there, but better things to come.
It's an exciting time, because it seems like that just kind of out of nowhere there's been some recent developments in technology that's really going to benefit what we do.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for staying on top of that.
Well, I mean, it's fun. I mean, it really is. I mean, that's, if you're a part of doing this, is enjoying it, and solving problems like that is what we do.
I see that.
The technology is changing, but you're still using some of these older raceways too, and these circular pools. I was learning earlier that these were built in 1930s.
The thing about it
30s,
is, I mean, those are some of the original pools. Travis, actually, when he was the manager here, is the one that got those up and running. We're getting ready to hopefully have another one fired up, and we should be able to outsource quality dissolved oxygen to these pools. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. I mean, they are a perfect place to raise big fish, and that's what we use them for.
Yeah. It's cool. It's awesome to see the technology changing, also being able to utilize what's already here. And
yeah, you're kind of getting a little bit of something brand new that's cutting edge and unbelievable, and then it coincides perfectly with what's always been done.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's see what else we got here. The events. What events are being held around this area and that we're involved in? We talked about the hatcheries open, but then there's also some special events happening nearby too.
Yeah, you do all this amazing stocking in the area and the delayed harvest, and that's a great draw for anglers at any time. But then on top of it all, you're providing these events and opportunities.
Well, the delayed harvest it's something that's just grown right before our eyes. I mean, it's really amazing when you come up and down this road, even in the middle of the week, cold weather, it doesn't matter, you're going to see a significant representation of fly fishermen and spin fishermen. I mean, people that are coming up here and enjoying the delayed harvest. And, we have that, and that's been extremely successful. But no, we do a lot of veterans work. We do at least 2 Project Healing Waters events a year. One of them is a pond event. The other one is actually a stream event here on Tellico River. And both of those have just become outstanding. The 2 guys here that were here earlier, Caleb and Cody, they're both active participants of that. And so is Travis. They all serve as guides. Mark Thurman does as well. It's probably, in my opinion, one of the most rewarding events that we have. At the exact same time, in June, we'll have our annual kids event over Free Fishing Weekend, and it's grown every year. It's just getting better and better and better. And the thing about it is, it's in all of these events, I mean, it gives us a unique opportunity to reach out to, the future of fishing, or people that have found, basically a therapeutic route to something traumatic in their life through fishing. But at the exact same time, it's an open resource. So when these guys are done or the children are done, then, the other fishermen come in and take advantage of it too. It is a win-win. There's no downside to it. And the people here, going back to the staff, Jessica works relentlessly on our children's event. Everybody comes together really, really good for all of our veterans event. It's amazing. It seems like it would be a complicated thing to do, but it's just very natural because so many people jump in to help out.
So was it May of 2019 we joined you for the dedication of the Moment of Freedom Pier?
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, another great addition to the area.
The person to talk most about be with Mark Thurman was integral to that. But we worked hard, got it done. It's a handicap accessible spot for people that have mobility issues, can have a true stream fishing experience. With it being right here outside the hatchery, it's not hard to manage. And it's one thing that I've been very surprised about is, that's always been a pretty popular fishing spot out there. And, adding that pier there and kind of making it where, it's specifically used by people that need it when they are here. We've had absolutely none actually conflict with it. People have been very respectful. It's worked out very, very, very well. And I've seen it's not something that you see limited use of. It's used frequently.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's used frequently,
as you all expected.
And one of the things one of the neatest things was, you guys might be familiar with Zeke Hembry. He's a pretty awesome little dude.
Shout out to Zeke.
Yeah,
he's
Zeke pretty
kid.
much gets into everything, But at our kids event this year, Zeke caught the biggest fish of the entire event off the Moment of Freedom Pier.
Wow, that's great.
And so that was really
And he was
good.
here for the dedication, and
he was
the
here
first
for the dedication, did the first cast, and then he came back at the kids event and caught the biggest fish.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, that dude's on fire.
He's a great kid, and he's been able to take advantage of a lot of our efforts, for those folks that are wheelchair bound.
Nothing stops him, man.
Yeah, I really encourage folks, come visit the area, come fish in this area, come visit the hatchery.
Just come experience it. There's so many things to do in Tellico.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a fisherman to enjoy it, but we like it when you are.
And they're not here and they're not expecting this, but there's a lot of places, cabins to rent and places to stay, places to camp. Come check it out. Tellico's pretty cool. It's a cool area.
Absolutely.
And you can get involved with some of these outfitters and things in the area, or come
just
visit
right
the
down
hatchery.
the road here at Green Cove. They have cabins and rooms available that are right on the river year round.
Well, I have to say, Travis, John, we so appreciate your dedication. Your dedication to good science that's making this fishery expand, not just here as we learn, but across the state, and providing for anglers. Get out there, feel those tight lines.
No, I'm honored to be a part of it and to be a part of a team that thinks progressively and allows me to do the things that we're capable of doing. It truly is. It's working with each other.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Mimi.
My pleasure.
And thank you all. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Keep coming back. And remember, tnwildlife.org. It's a great place to stay up to date and connected with us. And we'll see you next time on Tennessee WildCast.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.